Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well. Big news, but I got to be honest, this was expected. I've said this for a while, and I stuck with it because I just don't see what the point is of going one more season. But Pep Guardiola is leaving Manchester City at the end of this season, and we're hearing that Pep apparently is not too happy on the fact that this got out now. I would actually be kind of grateful because there's only one more game left. Right, I mean, bearing in mind, Man City play tonight, and then there's one more game left on the weekend, and that's the end of the season. And then what? Well, that will be the end. So I think it's only right that they give a chance, for the Man City fans to get ready, to prepare, to get all the goodbyes in store, and then to be able to go through that process. Then everyone departs and everyone says goodbye to each other, and that's it. I think it's only right that there's a bit of time given to that. I don't think Pep should leave out of the, like the back door, as they say. Out of the. You don't want to do that where no one can see. You want to be able to come out the front door and really say goodbye and everyone acknowledge it, because he's done incredible things for Manchester City. But the news, let's get into it. Pep Guardiola expected to leave Man City this summer, with Enzo Maresca always seen as the only replacement wanted. Pep ready to say goodbye in the next days, while Maresca said yes to Man City months ago, says Fabrizio. Pep Guardiola to leave position at Man City manager at the end of the season. 55-year-old Spaniard departing after a trophy-laden decade and set to be replaced by Enzo Maresca. No official confirmation yet, says David Ornstein. And even Ben Jacobs. Guardiola to leave City at the end of the season after 20 trophies won and still the Premier League to play for. Not really. Pep set to depart with a year left on his contract. Man City declined to comment. Maresca is a leading candidate to replace Pep, although he did not resign from Stamford Bridge with a job in mind or anything guaranteed at this point. And we're going to speak about Maresca in a bit, but for Pep, can we just acknowledge the career that he's had at Man City? And I know, I get why people are not happy with Pep. Oh, Pep destroyed football. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case, I'll be honest. Yes, he's dominated. That's one thing. He's absolutely dominated. Cool. But has he destroyed football? No, that's unfair. That's so unfair. It's ridiculous. He found a way and a method to the madness that got him 20 trophies. Can we just hear that number? 20 trophies. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, has been at Man City for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just verify. I think it's 2016 when he walked in. Yeah, 2016. So 10 years. 10 years, 20 trophies. Actually, you know what? Let's check the honours. Manchester City. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 league titles. I mean, that's just stupid. 10 years, 6 of them he's won the league. I mean, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. You know what I mean? And this is why I think people are fuming. FA Cups, 1, 2, 3. And twice runner-up. The League Cup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Shield, 3. Champions League, 1. Super Cup, 1. And the Club World Cup, 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it's 20 trophies. Just to confirm and make sure that journalists are giving the right information out, because we've got that problem nowadays, don't we? But Pep Guardiola, for me, it's unfair to say he's destroyed football. No one else found a way. And you know what the problem is? It's not him that's destroyed football. It's everyone else trying to copy him. That's what destroyed football. No one wanted to try and bring a bit of innovation and try and find their own way. I'll tell you what, there was one manager. One. When I say one, okay, there were a couple of others, but they didn't quite hit the highest level during Pep's time at City, except one. And that's Jurgen Klopp. Actually, another one I'm going to give credit to, Thomas Tuchel. But in the league, we never saw Chelsea win the league. We saw him win the Champions League. We saw Tuchel beat Pep 3 times in the space of 6 weeks, if you remember, on the run into the Champions League final. And then that was the last time Chelsea beat Man City to this day. So 2 managers, Jurgen Klopp, with his own style and own methodology, managed to win the league and managed to go on and win every trophy possible once at Liverpool. And Thomas Tuchel went into Chelsea in the space of 18 months, did everything that Jurgen Klopp could do except win the Premier League as well, with his own style at Chelsea, whilst beating Pep Guardiola in the midst of that. So those two. Everyone else was so obsessed with trying to play the same way. And that's the problem. That's not on Pep. That's on everyone else. Innovate. Try and be yourselves. Be original. Try and find a way to beat him. And this is why I can't, fault Arteta and Arsenal right now. They found a way. People talk about set pieces and whatnot. Yeah, but they found a way. You find a way to try and combat that, and then we'll have a conversation. No one can. Do you know what I mean? So with Pep, I think he deserves all the credit. Clearly, one of the best managers football's ever seen. And I want to give credit to Manchester City. The infrastructure, the resources, the board support, the ownership, everything has been run like a proper football club at Manchester City, and they've given Pep Guardiola everything he needed in order to succeed, and he's given them everything that he could bring in order for them to succeed. Now it's going to be interesting to see where things go from now, but Pep Guardiola, I think it's the right time for him to go. His FA Cup win over Chelsea on the weekend is the last trophy he's going to win at Manchester City, and that was number 20. They're not going to win the Premier League. Let's just say that now. Arsenal beating Burnley yesterday. Man City have to beat Bournemouth today. But even then, the last game against Crystal Palace, we've already spoken on this channel why Crystal Palace are compromised and they are not going to beat Arsenal on the weekend. They are going to throw the game to Arsenal because it benefits them more. So I'm fully expecting Arsenal to win and win the title at Selhurst Park. For those that don't know, basically, if Arsenal win the title, Crystal Palace pocket another 10 million. And they're going to rest players ready for their Conference League final, which is going to pocket them 19 million. So from those two outcomes, they're going to pocket 29 million. You best believe they are not winning against Arsenal. And why is that the case? Because Eze, if he wins the Premier League, he left Palace for Arsenal. If he wins the Premier League, there's a clause that allows Palace to pocket 10 million from that. So come on, do the maths. Palace are not going to jeopardise that. If they were a big club, I don't think they would mind throwing that away. But they're not. They need that 10 million goes a long way for them. So fully expect Arsenal to win that game. Which means that Pep will not win anything else now. It's done. So it's the perfect time to say goodbye. It is. He's done everything he possibly could. Going one more year doesn't really do much. It is probably best for City to start transitioning and to try and get a new era up and running. And this is where we turn to Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca with a total verbal agreement with Man City as of this morning. Here we go from Fabrizio. The Italian manager has always been considered the ideal candidate to replace Pep. Deal in place and Maresca will sign an initial 3-year deal at Manchester City. You know what? I'm in two minds over Maresca. And I'm going to speak about Maresca in terms of Chelsea in a sec because there seems to be some news in relation to that and this could affect Manchester City. But Enzo Maresca, I think it can work at Man City, but don't expect to see what you saw at Chelsea. And I stress that. Why? Because we were just speaking about Manchester City and everything that they gave to Pep Guardiola in order for him to succeed. They're going to be able to do the same thing for Enzo Maresca. Chelsea did not do that for Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca, in fact, made demands and didn't get them. Forget that at City. City will be like, listen, what do you need? Okay, boom. Done. Even Pep's last year, but what did they bring him in January to try and actually go all the way? They brought him Semenyo. They brought him Gueye. They brought in Shirky. I mean, flipping hell. Do you know what I mean? And those were 3 players linked with Chelsea at the same time. We could have done with Mark Gueye because Maresca actually came out and asked for a centre-back. Didn't get one. That's the difference. So don't expect the same. In terms of system, I actually think Maresca obviously is going to have more at his disposal to try and be a little bit more flexible because the Man City team is much more equipped. The squad is much more equipped. This is going to be a dream for him. And to be fair, let's be fair to Maresca. Limited as it was with Chelsea, right? Yeah, he won the Club World Cup. He did get top 4 in a time where we were all going, I don't think we're going to get top 4. We actually did. He won the Conference League. That was a formality. I'm not going to give credit for that, to be honest. It's a flipping Conference League. Palace are about to win the Conference League. You know what I mean? West Ham have won it. I mean, anyway. But Maresca's methods, I think why Man City have gone in for him is because he understands the system that has been put in place. I'm not talking tactically. I'm talking everything. The entire system that has been embedded into Manchester City, courtesy of Pep Guardiola, Maresca fully understands because he's been there as well. And he was working under Pep at City. To then go off and do his own thing. To now have a little bit more experience. To be able to come in and not interrupt too much. Which is Slot's mistake at Liverpool. So, Maresca on paper, I think will be a good move. However, I think Maresca needs to improve in one area. and that's his stubbornness. He can be very stubborn. In certain times, he can be very stubborn. And when something's going wrong, and this is what he's not going to get too much of at City because the team does the talking for itself, but when it does come, he needs to show some flexibility. And he needs to be able to alter a plan and to shift things a little bit tactically. Pep was able to do that at least a little bit. I wouldn't say that was Pep's strongest point either. But Pep was able to do that on a micro level in order to help influence the game. Even if it means bringing on certain players, changing a bit of the shape. With Maresca, he's a little bit more reluctant to do that, as shown at Chelsea, in times where I think we were screaming for certain subs to be made, and it was like, bruv, what are you doing? Flipping do it. You know, and then he'd wait until the 80th minute, and we're like, well, not now, flip it, that's too late. So that's the only concern that I have. But Maresca is going to try and continue what Pep has done. Now, I want to also say he has to be careful in this too, because, and I want your thoughts on this, my belief is that Pep's football as a whole has been figured out, quote unquote. I don't want to say figured out to mean it's now, you know, pointless. No. Like it doesn't work anymore at all. No, of course. But it's got less influence than it did, say, 5 years ago. And we've got new ways that are being innovated, and we're seeing new methodologies, and we're seeing Maresca needs to show adaptation, and he needs to be able to try and figure out exactly how things are going to work now, and not try and just copy and keep doing what Pep was doing, because that, in my eyes, was beginning to fail. It was beginning to come down. And hence why I was saying for a while that I believe this is the sunset on Pep Guardiola's time at Man City, because Pep as an individual doesn't know any more now. That's it. He's reached his ceiling. It's only downhill from here. So Maresca needs to be able to also try and innovate and try and adapt and try and evolve what has worked rather than change it. So it's going to be interesting as to whether he's going to be able to do that. Is he going to be very stubborn in terms of Pep's way that did work before, that I believe is now starting to come down? Or is he going to show some flexibility to maybe show, you know, that he's got new ideas that can supplement what has worked already? The worst thing he can do is come in and just flip everything. That would be a bad thing too. So he's got to find a balance. We'll see what happens. Now, Enzo Maresca, there's news today about him and Chelsea. Sources close to Maresca have confirmed he did not claim severance and that Chelsea hold his compensation rights. Chelsea are in a position to seek compensation. The number on the claim has been kept confidential, but is unlikely to be small. That's because, and to this day, we still don't really know what's happened, right? There's some people that tell you he walked, which I get. And there's some people that say he was sacked, which I also get. But apparently he's not been given any pay, and he's not claimed any severance, which does tell you that it's more likely he walked. Because at Chelsea, you have to understand, he came out publicly and said, this is the worst 48 hours. We feel like we've not been supported. And then people were like, what, by the fans? He said, no, the fans know what's going on. The fans are absolutely cool. It's not them. All right, who is it? Well, upstairs. And obviously, Bluco are Bluco. But there was things of, okay, has he walked? Or has his fuss and the way that he kicked up a ruckus in you know, with the hierarchy, and he kicked off with them, meant that it severed and he got sacked? But if he got sacked, he would have been paid. Do you know what I mean? And it honestly seemed like Enzo Maresca had reached the end of his tether. And he's gone, I've had enough of this. This cannot work. And this has been my problem with the way Chelsea have been run, which is not what he's going to get at City. He's not going to get that problem at City at all. So that's a plus for them. But if this is the case, and he has not been given any compensation, and Chelsea are now seeking compensation from him because he walked, if he walked away, then I'm sure Man City will look after him. Let's just say that. Man City will definitely look after him. Unlike Bluco. I have to stick that in because it's my club and we know how we've been run. It's been an absolute shambles. With Man City, if they want someone and they get them in, they are going to back them properly, just like Pep was, Maresca will be. It's going to be down to the manager and what he can do individually. So we'll see. What do you think is going to happen at Manchester City with Enzo Maresca? But let me know your thoughts down below. I do want to say huge congratulations to Pep Guardiola, an outstanding time and career at Manchester City. That's exactly how you want to see a manager come in, do a madness and go on their own terms. Yeah, fully deserved success and good luck in whatever he's doing next. Apparently his club football time might actually be done. Watch out for maybe the Spain job at some point after the World Cup. It's a possibility, perhaps. All I'm going to say is, because we know Jose's gone to Real Madrid, and this is probably going to be his last job at club football level, I'm looking forward to Spain versus Portugal in about 5 years. Pep versus Jose, let's run it back one more time. Except this time at international level. Going to be a war. Especially their neighbours as well. It's going to be outstanding. Let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. And I will catch all of you on here either later on or tomorrow. But make sure you're subbed, notification bell on, and I'll see you next. Have a good one, people, in a bit. Take care and peace.